So there is a really popular SEO tactic that a lot of people are using right now, and they're using it because it works. It works really well until it doesn't. And when it stops working, it can potentially ruin all of your traffic, all of your rankings, everything you've ever worked for on Google, just gone in an instant. And no, I'm not talking about spammy links. I'm not talking about exact match anchors. I'm not talking about AI generated content. All of you know this stuff is risky and it can tank your rankings. So that's not what we're talking about in this video. What we're talking about today is click-through rate manipulation and bot traffic. I don't know anything about the service I'm looking at right here. This is just a quick example I found by Googling CTR manipulation service. But scrolling down, you can see they basically just sell you traffic. They send a bunch of traffic to your website and it makes your rankings go up. And it's not very expensive at all. So why does this work? We found out in the Google algorithm leaks that they are paying a lot more attention to things like Google Chrome and user experience. They're really seeing what people are doing on your website, how many people are going to your website. They're tracking all of this stuff, and it plays a much bigger role in rankings than we had previously thought. And then we confirmed this even further with the recent DOJ case against Google, where they were forced to tell us even more about this, all of the stuff they're tracking in Google Chrome and how it affects their algorithm and how it affects their rankings of websites on Google. So in this video, I'm not going to be talking about how to do this tactic. I'm going to be talking about why I would really recommend staying away from it in most cases, maybe 99% of cases. I'm going to be talking about exactly how it can tank your rankings. I'm going to be showing you some private messages from a big group chat I'm in with some very high-level SEOs that are very experienced with this tactic and what they think about it. And then I'm going to be giving you some alternatives, things you can do to mimic these same kinds of signals, not really mimic them, but get these same types of signals without the risk. All right, let's get into it. So I'm Chris G, just link in the description to learn more about me or if you'd like to work together. And be sure to sign up to my mailing list to get instant access to my shared SEO documents folder. One of these things being brand new, this UX checklist, which I'm going to be talking about a little bit later in the video. Here it is. It's definitely beautiful, but yeah, we'll talk about this more in just a bit. Before we dive into the private group chat messages and why this stuff is so risky, first I want to take a slight detour and tell you why I've been very careful with this stuff and why I never used it much. How we get there is a little bit of a roundabout, so bear with me for 2 seconds. So first of all, a while back, I did experiment with buying some bot traffic and I didn't really see much of a gain from it, but this was a pretty long time ago. And this is not my Facebook page, but a long time ago as well, I experimented with buying Facebook followers, which ended up being a big mistake because you buy these followers, it looks really good, you got this big number. However, then when you start posting content and your followers aren't engaging with it because they are fake, Google then throttles your reach because they're saying, hey, your followers don't like what you're posting. A lot of people do the same things over on YouTube. They will buy fake subscribers and they will buy fake views and comments on their videos. I never do this because I'm afraid of what it'll do to YouTube's engagement algorithm, and my subscribers are quite low, so I think no one could ever accuse me of buying subscribers, which by the way, guys, if you're enjoying the content, go ahead and give the video a like and give the channel a sub. It really helps me out a lot. But on my old podcast, I know that some of our guests would actually buy fake views and fake comments without our permission, which is kind of a sketchy thing to do to someone else's channel because it can mess with your engagement algorithm. So just seeing this combination of how you mess with the engagement algorithm, how you mess with this fake traffic or fake views, fake subscribers, fake followers, and some experience myself just made me think that I don't want to mess with this stuff too much because I feel like it's very hard to fake it. I feel like it's very hard to send traffic to fake engagement. The tools just aren't quite there yet. So now let's head over and look at what some of these Black Hat pros are saying about it, because they have a lot more experience with it than me, so I really value their opinion on this stuff. Most of these messages are coming from James Dooley, who has a ton of experience in these Black Hat niches doing stuff like casino and gambling, which is very aggressive with the tactics that they use. So they started talking about it and I asked, mess up your site long-term in what way? James says, lots of clicks with under 5 seconds on the site. Most are using crappy pop traffic and selling it like it's an engagement service when it's 0.0001 clicks and they are selling for 1000% markup. Pop traffic is when you go to a website and something pops up on your screen. Maybe you click it accidentally and it just sends you to some other website that's unrelated. So of course the traffic you get from this is not going to be very good traffic, and it's just going to bounce from your website very quickly. Then most click-through rate tools are non-logged in, meaning they are using Google Chrome, which is good because Google uses Chrome data. However, they're not logged in. They're not real users. So it's a big footprint and it doesn't look as natural, right? Especially when they're all not logged in. Users with 100 plus fingerprints I can find, and I'm an idiot, so Google definitely can detect it also. The issue with these services is they trigger a short-term boost, so SEOs get those screenshots and market it like it's the holy grail. What they don't tell folk is that long-term, they tank websites and, in my opinion, are mis-selling and selling snake oil. So maybe you get those short-term gains, but then things come crashing right back down. And this crash back down can be permanent. It can last forever. You might never recover from it. The person then says it's a churn and burn for an unlicensed casino affiliate. Churn and burn meaning that it's a project they expect to only last a short time before it gets penalized. So if you're using these risky black hat tactics, it's going to be perfectly fine, right? James says it works nicely for short term, so that's okay. By the way, I'm not against it. I'm just saying it should be mentioned that it's not a long-term strategy for money sites. And then he says, but for parasite SEO, it's perfect if it's sold this way. If you know what you're getting into, if they're saying just use this for parasite and not on your money site or on your main website. Parasite SEO, of course, is when you buy a post on something like Outlook India, which used to be a popular parasite SEO website in the past. It's not anymore. They lost most of their traffic, just using this as an example. When you do something like you buy a parasite post on this website because it has very strong domain authority. So it has a very strong domain authority, which generally means you can abuse the website a lot more. It can take a lot more abuse. It can take a lot of these black hat tactics that maybe your website couldn't, just because it has so much trust with Google because of all of its crazy backlink profile. 42 million backlinks, right? Outlook India is what we'd call a paid parasite. You can also do free parasites, whether that's things like social media posts like X or LinkedIn, or even things like YouTube videos. And there's a bunch of other things you can use as parasites. You can abuse these a lot more. It's not your main money site. You're not going to get a penalty. So in these situations, these kind of short-term boosts might be worth it for you. Then we have a message from Kazra. And by the way, I asked James's permission to share these messages. I wouldn't just ever share a random group chat. However, I did not ask for Kazra's permission, even though he has this very nice, healthy-looking ponytail. Sorry, buddy. Kazra says the number of websites we've seen tank because they've overdone it with traffic, especially in the iGaming niche, is insane. Viral traffic can feel powerful, but it's like heroin. It gives you a quick high. You run it and jump from position 4 to 1, then crash to 7, run it again, climb to 2, then drop to 10. What's really happening behind the scenes is your site's average visit time keeps dropping. Most of these traffic sellers are sending 1-second adult traffic, the kind that bounces instantly. Before you know it, that so-called boost has completely wrecked your entire site. So just think about it like this. Here's your website and you are getting some normal traffic, and that normal traffic is all behaving like regular people. They're going to your website, they're using things, they're clicking things, maybe they're buying something from you. And then you start sending all of this fake traffic in, this fake low quality traffic using click-through rate manipulation, bot traffic, whatever. It's all hitting your website. But what happens is all of this traffic, they're not really interacting with your website the same way. They're not staying very long. They don't act like humans. They're not completing goals. And so what starts to happen is Google says, well, hey, your website's getting all of this traffic, though the people aren't interacting with it very well. So maybe you got a boost in the beginning, but then after Google checks you out a little bit and they say, hey, something's not quite right here. We've applied all of our filters. We've looked at things more in depth. Now we're going to demote you because people don't like your website. You have a bad user experience. So you're not even getting a Google penalty. They're saying that your users are having a bad experience, so we are going to knock you down in the rankings. And again, this is stuff that we found out how it works a lot more in depth when all of these Google leaks came out. And then the person asking the question says, gulp. And yeah, I'd probably say gulp too if I found out I was using tactics that would end up hurting my website or my client's website in the long run. He then asks, can the negative attacks by Google take place even if the manipulation happened only 2 or 3 times for a casino site? So it's not very many times. James says, in short, yes, it can. All depends how much volume you've sent and your previous historical data. Large sites can get away with a lot more, but if not a huge brand or getting lots of traffic, then even a single campaign can harm your site. It's being used now for a lot of negative SEO strategies, short-term gains, but long-term losses. Of course, negative SEO is when you are attacking someone else's websites. Happens a lot in these kind of black hat niches like gambling. You're doing negative SEO, you're attacking someone else's website. So they're using this fake traffic, this bot traffic, sending to other people's websites, knowing it will boost them in the short term, but then it will destroy their rankings in the long term. And then talking about how you can track it and how you can try to prevent it if someone is doing it for you. However, he says tracking is one thing, trying to stop it is another thing. So basically, there's not really any smart, good ways to stop this stuff. And if there is, people aren't really talking about it. It's very hard to do. The point is, even if you can track it, then you'll not be able to stop it. Hence why the iGaming industry is so cutthroat nowadays. Domain sellers are laughing really because if you want to succeed, you need several age domains lined up. So when one site is hit, you just 301 it and reload. So this is what the black hats are doing. They're just destroying each other's websites with this fake bot traffic. when your rankings get destroyed. They have a new age domain already waiting. Of course, age domains already have a lot of backlink authority, so they can just rank quickly, and they just 301 everything to the new domain, and boom, they're back in business again, and just repeats this cycle over and over and over, where they get one website destroyed, then they just 301 to a new website. This one gets destroyed, they 301 to the next one, and on and on. He says that's exactly what's happening every day in iGaming. It's not just about optimizing websites anymore. 50% of the battle is combating negative SEO. Real websites are being crucified daily. He says, if you really want to know, then reach out to Finixio and see whether they'll teach you the best tracking methods for their attack. So I guess this is someone who's doing negative SEO and just making a joke here, because of course they're never going to tell you. So really, I would just stay far away from this stuff, but there are some alternatives, some things that we can be doing to try to get these gains without the losses. We're going to do things in a more natural way, a more long-term approach. No, it's not going to be as easy as paying $59 a month and just sitting back and your rankings going up, but it's not going to include these crashes. So the very first thing I would do is to focus on good user experience, meaning that when people come to your website, they're not having a bad time. We want them to have a good time, to find what they're looking for very quickly. Click the link in the description to get access to my shared SEO documents folder. I just made this user experience checklist for you guys so you can go through and see all the things you can be doing to optimize for a good user experience, which things are the most important, which things are not that important. After you've got that good user experience, then you can start trying to funnel traffic to your website from other places other than just SEO. Because a lot of these ways, you can get a lot of traffic on your website very quickly, and a lot of times a lot faster than SEO. It could be a lot easier. You can do that with pay-per-click ad campaigns, whether those are for branded campaigns or you're just doing ads to specific pages. You can do it with video content. That's either short form or long form content on platforms like YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. You can also funnel traffic from social media. A lot of people are using X right now to do this, as it's kind of easy to use automation to grow X accounts. And then of course, you can grow your email list and send your email list back to your website repeatedly. PPC campaigns are definitely the easiest thing mentioned here. These other things, creating good videos, creating good social media content, growing an email list, these things take time. They're not easy, but it's really good to invest in these strategies because you don't want all of your eggs to be in one basket, right? You don't want your SEO to have problems, and because you lost some rankings or you got hit with an algorithm update, that your business is completely destroyed. So if you focus on these other channels as well, even just pick one of them, then you have this other way to generate traffic on demand, which is really good for your diversification purposes, but it's also really good for your SEO because then you can just keep pumping traffic into your website, which we know Google loves. So anyway, guys, that's why I don't mess with this stuff at all. Anything to do with engagement, I pretty much stay far away from because I feel like the tools just aren't there yet. I'd really just focus on user experience and driving traffic from elsewhere, unless you are just really okay with potentially losing all of your rankings. So if you're doing churn and burn stuff, if you got a very black hat approach, then this might be for you. And one real quick thing, guys, I've got a question for you. I actually want some feedback on this. I've been thinking about creating a school community, which would probably be priced around $49 a month. There'd be a bunch of resources in there to help you, kind of like a mini course. And then you can ask me questions anytime to get guidance, of weekly calls, and a bunch of other stuff. But anyway, let me know if that's something you'd be interested at all. I'm just trying to get feedback at this point. Link in the description if you want to work together or to subscribe to my mailing list. Be sure to like the video and subscribe if you're enjoying the content, and I will see you next time, guys. Bye-bye.